Under 12 feedback for the Cambrian game last weekend. Good exercise, as with the under 10s. We were competitive. Successes were that the second period was outstanding. We dominated possession. We moved the ball. We used the full width of the pitch and the length of the pitch. We moved it quickly. We created a lot of chances. We scored a number of very good goals. Could have had a lot more. So that was excellent. Where we need to stretch now is same with the under 10s. Our discipline. We've been able to play at a very good level for one period. So there's no reason why we can't stretch that to two. But the barrier that's in our way is our discipline, our maturity, our intelligence as a team and individually. So we need to get really curious now about how we can stretch those periods out for longer. Because if we were nowhere near the opposition for the whole game, then I'd say fair enough, we're just a long way off. But we're able to dominate so convincingly for one period. It has to become about our character, about the daily habits, the patterns of thinking and behaviour that we have. So we need to go through a change as a team, as individuals, to go up to that higher level. Okay, it's about game understanding. It's about preparation. So, at the start, we've got players who are all over the shop, asking all sorts of crazy and silly questions, 30 seconds, just before we're about to kick off. And that's okay. That's just where we're at the moment. But certainly what we need to do is make sure, or what I'm asking the parents, I'm asking the players to let me know what are the concerns you're going to have before the game. We can't answer every question leading up to the game. So, for example, against Cambrian, we were supposed to play 8-a-side, then we switched it to 9-a-side, and then we switched it back to 8-a-side. That was on their request. So we're having to adapt in order to get a game of football. Now, that happens at lots of different levels, not just at the level we're at. It happens at pro level, pro academy level as well. So our warm-up routine is pretty consistent. We don't change it too much. So you should know what you're doing there. As far as knowing where you're playing on the pitch, what I want to get across is that the principles are the same, right? Whether you're playing right fullback, left wing, centre midfield, when we've got the ball, we want to make the pitch as wide as we can and as long as we can, and look for the spaces. Can we shake off our man to create space? When we haven't got the ball, can we make the pitch narrow? Can we make it compact? Can we close down the ball? The communication, our decision making, everything really, the principles are the same no matter what your position. So you need to be focused on that. And if you do that, then you'll be able to adapt to whatever changes are made. Okay, just go back to one of the successes. The way we pressed the opposition and stopped them getting out was very, very good. Very, very important. One area where we put ourselves under pressure, when we defended initially in the first phase at the back, we got back in numbers, we were able to get tackles and blocks in, and then when we win it, we're looking to play dangerous passes. So if in doubt, let's just clear it. I'm not talking about if there's a pass on, being too afraid to trust a teammate. We definitely want to do that. But if we are looking to get the ball out of danger, it needs to be long, diagonal, over the top, and into touch if we need to. Okay, we've covered the discipline. That's a mainstay, and then the consistency. We need to really start focusing on how we can get that into our game now. In my opinion, it starts in the warm-up. If I see players who are focused, if I see players who are asking questions at the right time, getting on with things at the right time, then I'm going to trust more that those periods of playing well are going to be lasting for longer. I've said this before when I was at Swansea City, working with what should be the cream of players in Southwest Wales. We were happy as coaches if we could get 2 very good periods out of our players as a team, and we might have one okay period, and we might have one period where the opposition sort of come into it, which you would expect at some point playing against other higher level teams. Okay, so that is the bare minimum I'm aiming for with our teams, is to have 2 very good periods. At the moment, we get in 1 very good period. That's been pretty consistent over the last few games, the last couple of months maybe. We need to start stretching those out for longer. So it's not really about what we know, it's about, are we performing, are we going out and doing it? So we can only do that by holding ourselves to a higher standard, learning to play under pressure, learning to play and do the simple things that we know to do more often. So that's probably sums it up. We just need to keep the game a lot simpler and make it easier for ourselves. When someone's in a better position, give them the ball. When we've got to clear it, let's clear it. Okay, and let's move on to the individual feedback. Luke James in goal looked a lot more settled, and made a great contribution, made some very good saves. What was really impressive, Luke, was the way that when we talked about the defenders and amid everybody pushing up, we asked you to really sweep up behind and push up to cover any loose balls over the top. You did that very well, anticipated the balls. Just make sure with your distribution that the players you're passing to have got the space to turn and move the ball. If they haven't got that, then definitely go long. And what we'll find is if you go long once or twice, the opposition will drop off, and then we'll have the space to play it at the back. Lewis Hyde, you did have some moments where you moved the ball quite well. Overall, though, you need to get back to your own, the standards you've set for yourself, with your focus, your communication, which has improved in recent weeks, and also being more aggressive in your tackling, going to win the ball, closing down space, pressing up, rather than sitting down deep in front of the goalkeeper and in effect blocking the sight of the goalkeeper. Push up, be aggressive in winning the ball, okay, and get back to talking. Okay, Malachi Perlman, a good debut, lots of positives, looking to move the ball into space, playing good football, supporting teammates, joining in with the attack, so that was a real plus. Just like as we said in the group feedback, make sure when we clear it, the ball goes high and wide, get good distance on it, and if it goes into touch, that's totally fine. We can reset and reorganize. That's the other thing, you touched on it in the team talks at half times, in the breaks. Communication, constantly organizing, constantly looking across the line. Are the other defenders with me? Do we need to move up? Do we need to drop off? Have we got pressure on the ball? All these things all the time we can be communicating about. Evan Bodger, some really good moments in the later periods, getting on the ball, a little bit more fluid, causing problems for the opposition, joining in, further up the pitch. Where we need to get better is at the start of the game. This is something that you've worked on and improved before. You need to get back to those standards that you've set in terms of being ready. Just focus on your first pass, first tackle, first movement into space, first shout, and so on, and that'll help you settle into the game quicker. And the other thing you need to do is join in, support the man in front. So if this is you here and your winger is moved up the pitch, we don't want to leave a gap if he's pressing the man, because otherwise we're going to be leaving too much space if the winger gets beaten. So we can be up supporting and covering. Also, if the winger's attacking, we might want to overlap, we might want to underlap, but either way we can support the winger. If we're too far back, we can't do either. Okay, Teddy Lowry, some good moments in linking up play, a lot of entries into the box. It's clearly an attacking threat. Okay, so you had a big influence on the game. You could have a lot more influence and score a lot more goals if you do some of the following. Number one, movement. Sometimes quite a lot dragging the man in, receiving it with your back to goal, which is good if you can look after it. But you just need to make sure that sometimes you are given the option to get away from your man by running at different angles, okay, rather than just running straight back. So that's one thing. The other thing then is to be more creative, more open-minded in front of goal, more composed. See if you can look at the keeper, see which way he's set up. Is he going to dive at your feet? If so, can you dink it over the top of him? Can you curl it round him? I would say on a small goals like that, you're looking to draw the keeper out. And that might be just by running at him to the side. Someone overlaps this way and playing the overlapped player in. So it's being more creative. I think you need to switch on a lot more to that and be more clever, more intelligent with your runs. You do need to switch on more generally. You know, team talks, we've spoken a number of times about you know, just daydreaming, talking to teammates about things that are not relevant to the game while we're doing the team talk. So clearly that's an indicator that you can be more switched on. Jack Davis, you've consolidated your improvement once again. You know, certainly played a part in our best performance of the day in the second period. So the fact that you were a part of that shows, you know, you made a good contribution. Always proactive, always wanting the ball, you know, always switched on. Not quite as good on the ball as you have been in recent weeks, especially in the first period, but you recovered from that. And, you know, the key thing, as we said with Evan, make sure we move up and down together, whether we're defending or whether we're attacking. Don't leave those gaps in behind our winger, okay? So look after the ball, decide where you're going to go before you get it. Liam Harding, you know, you understood, it looked like you understood in the first period the importance of closing down space. And certainly when you got the ball in space for yourself, you were able to lay it off a number of times, which is positive. Where you need to really be honest with yourself now is, am I having the impact on the game that I know I can be, even with your current ability level, you know, which everybody has to accept, this is what I am for now. You know, could you impact the game more by not only closing down, but actually going in and winning the ball? Is there something stopping you from doing that? And actually getting on the ball more often by being more purposeful with your runs. With a lot of cajoling, a lot of encouragement, you did start to make some runs in behind when the fullback was coming forward, you know, diagonal runs. You know, but in the advanced groups, we're expecting for you to start doing this now without having to be reminded all the time. Okay, and just generally we want to see you impacting the game. And I got a challenge for you, Liam. Go to the dictionary and look up the word passive and look up the word proactive. Come back, tell us what each one means. Tell us what which one of those you are more like at the moment, and also then tell us what you can do to become more of the one that you think is the way you should be. Okay, if you've got any questions on that, let us know. Charlie, excellent in the second period, like the rest of the boys who played in that period. You know, what was important was you understood when to release the ball. You understood where to release it, which was into space. You kept good width when we were attacking, and you closed down really well when we were defending high up the pitch. And then you've set that high standard of game understanding, and then it's dropped significantly, to be honest, in other periods where you started playing more as an individual. You've switched off to what's around you, you know, passing options before you get the ball. You were rewarded with great persistence and good individual play with an excellent goal. So, you know, your development, Charlie, as a player, with playing with more intelligence is going to mirror how the team's going to develop. The more you can play with intelligence, the better we're going to do, and we're going to be able to stretch out these periods of dominance over a much longer period. Okay, so next on is Archie Hayden. Second period, excellent, closing down, stopping the opposition from playing out at the back, involved in some really good link-up play, lots of entries into their box. Where we need to improve now is, you know, number one is, as we've spoken about in the past, you've got ability, you are creative. We've seen it time and time and again in training and on the camps. I feel you're a little bit hesitant inside the box, perhaps a little bit afraid of players coming in to stop you. You know, the physicality, I'm not sure, but there seems to be some hesitancy in the box. We want to see you being direct, you know, being creative, going for goal, playing 1-2s, getting shots off. Okay, Harry, you know, defended really well in the second period. You know, the key thing was when Archie went forward, you went forward to cover. So we pressed together well as a team. You used the ball well and you communicated well. So lots of positives. Stretch targets then would be similar, you know, mirroring the team. Your focus